Got no fear, hippie heroes here. And today we are going to see what appears on my YouTube recommendations. We're going to watch one of my favorite YouTubers, Kaiser the Gamer. So he's an excellent content creator. Make sure to give him a like and follow. And let's hop into it. I'm kind of curious to see what he has to say about Dead by Daylight's inevitable fate. I may skip around a little bit because I'm on a time crunch.
Roughly 2 hours now, kind of just staring at the ceiling and wondering if I should even make this video. On the one hand, I think it's a very important discussion to have, and I do believe, at least in my heart of hearts, that behavior needs to recognize the issue I'm about to talk about and fix it before it's too late. But on the other hand, I am well aware of what comes with making discussion content on the internet by this point.
It's
I like
fun.
to talk about my opinions. As you can tell, I upload a lot of
Same.
videos doing it. And I like to talk about my opinions because 99.9% of the time, I like to hear the opinions of other people. I think that healthy disagreements over certain things in this world are perfect. And especially when it comes to things like video games, I think that it is always great to talk about what we feel is the bigger problems and what we feel can be used to improve the games we love. I do hold that there are some things that are just not up for discussion. Not everything has to be a debate, like, for
Hmm.
example, human rights. And there are some
True.
times when somebody says something that I just know that talking to them is a complete waste of my time because, well, I've been doing this for longer than some of you watching this video have been alive. The point is that I want to make this video, but what I am worried about is that I will garner a massive headache because I know that no matter how clear I talk, no matter how precise I am, someone somewhere is going to completely take my words out of context, misrepresent me, and say stupid shit. And I just don't know if I have the mental capacity to deal with that at the moment. But then again, by the time you're seeing this video, it'll be roughly a week out. And so, yeah, fuck it. So, I believe that there is a gigantic problem that behavior needs to look at, that if they don't, it will kill Dead by Daylight. And I know that that's a wild thing to say, but understand when I'm saying that I'm not trying to be the kind of person that's like, oh, I don't like the game anymore, therefore the game going to die, because I hate those kind of people. Just because you don't play a game, just because you've fallen out of love with the game doesn't make the game dead. And I also am not wishing for the downfall of Dead by Daylight. I love Dead by Daylight. There's a part of me that's always going to love the game that gifted me the career that I currently have, but I can see a writing on the wall, and I don't know if anyone else can say it. And I'm going to be called a doomsayer, and I'm going to be called stupid, and I understand that, but at least watch the entirety of this video before you call me this. Where are we heading with this game? I ask you that because at this current moment in time, every single patch brings with it massive game-breaking bugs. We get maps that completely don't load whatsoever. We get server issues. We get killers that become broken and they are either unplayable or the bug is so powerful you can't do anything against it. We get survivor items that crash the game. We get survivors being untouchable. We get survivors being unhookable. Every single patch that comes to this game breaks not one thing, not two things, not 10 things, but 25 plus things every single time. And I'm starting to wonder how much longer this game can last because from what I can tell, it's built upon a tangle of shoelaces and Lincoln logs. You touch one thing in this game and it immediately shatters the foundation of 17 other things without even, like, without fail. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't an exaggeration for comedic effect. This is literally what happens. Every single patch, this game breaks in half, and we have to deal with it for multiple weeks while their team tries to figure out what the hell happened. And it is because, at the end of this day, this game is very poorly coded. We are still working off of the coding of a very small indie team that really and honestly did not know their game was going to take off the way it did. They had absolutely no clue this game was going to become the monstrosity that it is. The titan of titans within the horror asim genre. Nobody back then knew what this game had to offer, and so as far as the dev team was concerned, they were just making a fun little game for people to enjoy for a month and then put down. Another thing that starts to bother me, and it's something that one of my Discord members brought up, they were making a suggestion where they need to start working on DBD2, and we'll get to that in a minute, and then cap the amount of killers and survivors out at 50 apiece, which is not a good idea. You can't do that. You can't cap the number of new content you bring to the game. That's just not going to work. The game needs new content. All games need new content, but they had sort of a point. Every single chapter, full chapter that comes, brings at least 2 new characters and 6 new perks to the game.
Okay. So I want to kind of go circle back what he's saying about buds. I don't really feel like the buds in Dead by Daylight are bad. I mean, sure you get buds, but at this point, like most people have set them, you can still play a lot of different perks. I mean, they're even if, like, say for example, flashbang breaks. There's over 200 different perks in a game. I think over 300, closer actually 400, almost. Um, so I wouldn't consider the bugs in DBD a real issue, especially since a lot of times they get fits. There are a lot of killers that get nerfed beyond belief, like Skull Merchant and Trickster as of late. Um, but I feel like a lot of just the community sets the buzz. Like we play DBD, so we kind of know what to expect. At least the hardcore community does, and a lot of times we're not unaffected by it. And DBD even has quite a bit of a monopoly where like other games like VHS, Friday 13th, TCM, and the Evil Dead games, Killer Clowns. Nobody plays those games, Harley. Nobody. Because DVD just has it all. If you want clowns, we got a clown. If you want Leatherface, we got a Leatherface. If you want Friday 13th with Jason, we don't have that yet, but we may have that with the new licenses coming out. So I don't really feel like buds are an issue. Unless it's like completely game breaking, like there is like locker buds that have happened in the past, but the ones where you can like this is serious ones like that normally get fixed pretty quickly.
It is getting to the point where there are so many characters and so many perks that even longtime players of the game or people who are experts in the game forget things that exist or forget things what some things do or something like that. After 2300 hours in this game, most of that spent trying to be the best at this game that I could possibly be, learning the ins and outs of everything, I still outright forget what some shit does. I learned the other day that Dredge has a add-on that allows you to see the aura of a survivor who just locked a locker. I had no idea that was there. I legitimately had no idea. And you can't blame me because at this point there are over 240 add-ons in this game. Now, I've stated in the past before that knowledge checks are good, and I like knowledge checks, and I think that complications within a game are also very good. I like learning new things, I like learning new stuff, but the problem is that let's say we do get to 50 a piece, right? 50 killers is over 1,000 add-ons to remember. That's over.
Pretty the add-ons are intense.
Honestly, let's say each killer gets only 1 power, which nowadays killers are released with 2 to 3 powers, but let's say they all only get like 1 power, that's still going to be like 75 plus powers. Like there's tons of killers that have multiple powers, not just 2, but 3, even 4 in some cases, right? Every single killer is played against in a completely different way, which causes general frustrations and aggravations.
Depends.
And let's not forget the massive amount of perks that come to this game. At what point is too much going to be too much. At what point is behavior going to add so much to this game that it will become impossible, impenetrable for new players to get into? We have tried to solve several of these problems in the past with things like how the game should not only be free but also come with, more base killers and more base survivors. There's been a lot of talks for people about reworking the tutorial system, but it's kind of like getting into a card game. Do you know why most TCGs have a rotating format? It's to stop this shit. So I've compared DBD to TCGs in the past a lot, actually, because I feel like it's the most apt comparison. Um, but basically, every TCG on the planet, outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think Pokemon. I don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I played Pokemon. But every TCG on the planet rotates sets. They have a rotating format. Basically meaning that you can't come into the game and play with all the old stuff and the new stuff. You have to only play with the new stuff within a certain time period. And the reason for that is because if you allow players to just play with every card from the beginning of the game's release, it gets really complicated and really hard to teach new people how to play because everything becomes an impossible knowledge check. How far away are we from DBD hitting that point? So, between the fact that every new update brings with it a treasure trove of game breaking bugs and minor bugs.
Yeah, I'll pause them right there. Um, so yeah, I learn stuff at this game all the time. Even still, like 4,000 hours is in. A good example of something I recently learned is wiretap and open-handed do not work together. You would think they would because they do have set specific ranges, and that's way how open hand works. You have to have like a range to it for it to benefit it. But because it's based off of generators, open-handed and wiretap do not work together. It like and refresher, wiretap's the part where you do like 40% of a gen, then you can see the killer's aura, I believe, for 14 or 16 meters. I think it's 16 meters around that gen. Then the killer has to get the gen. I think it should probably have some type of audio cue. I don't believe it has any type of audio cue to signal that the gen have wiretap on it. You can only really tell by survivor's behavior. Um, but I learned that the other day, and I will say like I'm really really enjoying that I can just keep on diving into this game and put so much time and effort into it and still learning stuff. The things I don't like is I can't remember the add-on names. I really cannot remember hardly any of the add-on names, but I remember most of the effects. And I think that's pretty cool that you can achieve that stuff. The downside though is like it is very very hard for newer players to get into this game, and I want for newer players to get into this game and keep the community alive. I understand like the hardcore community I feel like is what keep the game alive a lot. Um, but I would like there to be some type of rotation, very similar to I think some multiverses that does it is where every couple every day or every week, something like that, you're able to play a different character that you had not unlocked yet, and that's what I wish DVD would do because not only would it help people's knowledge of the game, it would make it more impactful for players to get into it and be like, I want to work to this killer, I want to work to this survivor, I want this part so badly. And the other big thing, he's talking something about the tutorial is I feel like you could probably get rid of the tutorial altogether almost. But buff up the custom lobbies. Like I think probably the next big play that behavior has for us is to do 2v8. And when 2v8 first started happening, that's when we started introducing like killer bots And I feel like us introducing killer bots is going to logically transition into our custom lobbies, which I think will help. Um, the real thing I want from like the custom lobbies is you need killer bots. Definitely that's a big thing. You also I would like to see like a floating spectator camera that can literally fly around like Super Smash Bros. Style and look at everything. That would be awesome. Not only for our competitive players, but it would help out with testing parts. It would see we could quicker find glitches if possible because we could test it within ourselves, really. Everybody could test out parts, everybody could spot out bugs quicker. It would be so much more impactful. And then the urban thing is not only does the spectator help out with like competitive players as well, is I want to see like map seeds in our lobby because for those that know, like our mounts in DBD, we may play on the same map again and again, but the tile generation can vary drastically. And for balancing purposes and competitive, that is absolutely miserable because you don't know, am I going to get 18 pallets? Am I going to get 24 pallets? Am I going to get this, that? Am I going to get me a really strong PL wall? Am I going to get me a god pallet? Am I going to get two filler pallets back to back to form a god pallet? I don't know. Um, I'm really hoping that those change with the game.
And just bugs that really don't make any sense. And the fact that every single chapter is starting to bring with it more and more complications. How long is it before this game becomes unplayable to all but the people who have put thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into the game? How long before the prospect of even trying to penetrate the sphere that is the complication of DBD too much, but more importantly, how long will it be before an update releases that fully breaks this game? How long is it going to be before there is too much weighing on a weak foundation before the game becomes unsalvageable and unplayable? I am genuinely worried for the future of this game, not because I think that the balance is bad or because I think that the devs are incompetent or anything like that, but because the sheer inevitability of what is happening to the game with every update is going to become too much at some point. How many years do we have left? 2, 3, 4, 10? What will happen if the behavior does not stop and look at the real problem here? What will happen if behavior does not recognize how this game breaks all the time and how there's just simply too much information at hand? What can be done? Well, for the bug fixes, it's simple. Build another game. It sucks to think about. It's hard to think about, and there's probably going to be a lot of issues where it comes to licensing. But yeah, build another game. I know we've memed the fuck out of Overwatch 2 to death, but hey, sometimes you have to build a new foundation. Sometimes you have to catch up with the rest of the world. And I honestly believe that DBD was behind the times in terms of technology when the game got fucking released. So yeah, it's time
Yeah,
for
just
that.
about.
But as far as the information overload, I honestly don't know. I have no idea how you can combat that. I like I said, there's a lot of suggestions, but eventually it's going to get to be too much. DBD will eventually die, and I don't think that there's any way that we as a
Anytime soon,
community
though.
or behavior as a dev team can stop it. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you actually listened. I'm not saying I want DBD to die. I'm not trying to be a doomsayer. I'm just saying that it is inevitable. And yeah, as always, I love you guys so much. Sorry. As always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out, I become.
Okay, so like, circle back to what I was saying. I think creating a new version of DBD would be very beneficial, for a lot of different reasons. I know they kind of did like the same thing with like Minecraft Bedrock and Minecraft Java, where they wanted to actually extend out to mobile, which DBD does have a mobile, And currently, they have stopped updating on mobile, last I heard. And I think the reason for that is I think they're trying to actually catch up with regular DVD. And honestly, if they could, that would be incredible. It is so the thing about Overwatch 2 was the format they introduced was terrible, but could you imagine a DVD 2 focus on 2v8 that allowed you to play with not only mobile players, or well, I guess you don't need to play with mobile players, but that allowed you to play on multiple different platforms, all with better coding and matching up together, where it's not built on a weak foundation. It may be a restart, but I think they could definitely do it. And I think that's in the possibilities. So I'm looking forward to the future. I'm pretty optimistic about the future and maybe a little bit too optimistic, but I'm still pretty optimistic. I don't see DBD failing as a game within, I would say, at least 5 years. I feel like you could go through 5 years of updates. So that would be about 20 different more killers, and then I could see it actually failing. I believe they're probably going to do a health and horror update or something like that, because they have been reworking major parts lately, and I think it's only going to refine things and make it better. So, with that being said, I'll see y'all in the fog. I hope y'all have a great and wonderful day. Bye bye.